Hello, everybody. Welcome to Podcasts and Players. And it's been too long. It really has. A whole month went by with no episodes. I was making music the whole time, but I'm back and stronger than ever. And this time I'm joined by an amazing D&D YouTuber who makes animated content about how to rebalance 5th edition. There are a few pretty amazing videos that I have greatly enjoyed. I am talking about none other than Bone Wizard.
Hello, I'm Bone Wizard.
Can I call you Bone, or what do you go by?
Bone's fine. Bone works.
Bone works. All right. I watched. Like, I'm not even really kidding. I watched your videos and I really like a lot of the ideas that you had for rebalancing, especially like fighter subclasses. That was a really good video.
I wish I'm so mad I released that after Tasha's, because now it's all out of date.
After Tasha's or before, you mean?
Oh, excuse me, before Tasha's. I released it before Tasha's and it's all out of date now. And it's like,
It was, I mean, not entirely. I mean, first of all, like, looking at Arcane Archer, that needed so much. It's such a cool idea, and it just sucks in principle and in concept.
It's just like, it made me so just frustrated to see that. And like, they're updating, they updated Ranger, which is great. And they made like these quality of life improvements in Tasha's, and they'll never do that for the subclasses.
Well, that's not 100% true. Mm-hmm. They did do that for Bladesinger, if you recall.
That is true. But you also had to buy a new damn book to do it.
But my problem was, okay, if you're willing to redo the Bladesinger, why aren't you willing to, like, I don't know, make the sorcerer subclasses better? Since released like 2 amazing subclasses that give you 10 extra spells that sorcerers normally wouldn't get. Sorcerers have like 15 throughout their whole lives. That's it. And generally, you don't get to the point where you get 15. You end the campaign with like 7 spells. But with like these new subclasses, you can then have another 10. That's like almost doubling what you're able to get. I don't know. It felt like, okay, so you're going to show us how good these 2 can be and then just ignore your other children? You're just going to leave them?
Your other children? You're just going to ignore? Leave your children starving on the street, begging for sorcery points? It's rough. Yeah, like I mean, like, that's where like the beauty of homebrew comes in. I get why they don't update it, because, it's just another book, and like erratas are annoying to put out, sure. But it's annoying because you constantly have these people there's this rift between players. It's like, oh, story's more important, or combat's more important. And this rift only widens when you make subclasses that are supposed to, quote unquote, fix the problem. And it creates this rift. So now people are picking the newer subclasses because they're just that good and they want to be like powerful. Whereas the people who don't want to be power gamers are picking the old stuff that's like not that great. When in reality, it shouldn't be a question, like what you pick shouldn't be a question of what's powerful. It should be a question of what is the most interesting I can bring to a story. And I don't think you should have to sacrifice mechanics to have a good story. You know what I mean?
I do know what you mean. I think that there's woefully few. Well, let me put it this way.
Put it this way. You know what? Put it to me this way.
Let me put it this way. D&D 5e is really great in that it's simplified format compared to other games, right? Has enough mechanics, enough crunch to still be enjoyed by older players that like that kind of thing, but be open to new players who might be intimidated by all of the calculation and math that you got to do when playing it. The bounded accuracy was also a bold choice, but it also means that, like, things are a bit more grounded in the sense of like, a team of level 5s can gang up on a level 20 wizard and probably kill that wizard. Like, it's not impossible. The wizard, if they get to cast their 9th level spell, might be able to just one-shot them all. But if they win initiative, like, it's not impossible for them to do something to, like, stop that wizard. Because...
Oh, yeah, anything's possible. You just... Monk runs up to him, stuns him, or just, like, hear me out. Choke him out. Can't cast a spell if you can't talk, you stupid bookworm.
I mean, well, there are ways, but you're right. Most of the time that is true. And
not any good spells.
Well, what I mean is like, so people are still human even at level 20. They're powerful, but they're still very much, or I should say, they don't feel like gods. They feel like really powerful mortals. Whereas with, we'll just say like Pathfinder, it's not bounded accuracy. It is just straight like line
numbers.
Up. Yeah. So like a level, we'll just say a level 15 would absolutely, they're like a god compared to level 5s. Like level 5s can't even hit a level 15 character, let alone survive around with it. Like it really is this far and away huge difference in scaling with these two systems. So with like 5th edition, what they tried to do, I think, is they tried to ground things down, basically reduce the amount of numbers that you need to be calculating so that things are sort of, basically you'll mentally remember shorthand calculations for things because proficiency only goes as high as 6. Your ability scores only go as high as 5. There's like only so high that a character can get without like crazy homebrew magic item type stuff. We
love simple math because I have known literal doctors, people who got their PhD, who sit down to play a game of D&D, and as soon as I ask them, hey, what's 7 plus 5? They crumple under the weight of the enormity of that task. And it's just like, I'm for the 5e simple math because Pathfinder, they're asking me to do like 35 plus like 17. Dude, that's 4 digits in total. Two-digit numbers. It's too much. It's far too much.
And the thing is, like, you might get like a 25 on a roll, a check or a hit or something, and think, that's good. Is that good?
Nailed
Is that
it.
good? Like, you don't know
great.
if that's good depending on what tier of play you're in that game, And
then the DM says, miss.
Right, at like level 15, that's not good. You should be hitting above 30. What's wrong with you? Like, it doesn't feel, it's hard to, like, if you get above a 20 in D&D, no matter what level you're at, that's pretty dang good. That's pretty, no matter what you're rolling, that's a pretty good roll.
That's a good one. I always, like, I think it's important that, high rolls should matter. I mean, there's a whole conversation you should have about, like, AC and monsters just being kind of like, bleh. Because I think the thing I like about Pathfinder is they raise AC and they, like, HP is like, whatever. Because, like, some creatures in 5e have, like, they're just hits HP sponges and I hate it.
Yeah. I'm so as a DM myself. One of the issues that I'm running into is that appropriately optimized characters. I'm not talking min-maxed. I'm not talking people that are just abusing whatever. Just people who made their characters well, right? End up having higher than the average AC and damage output than a regular party might have, right? And so, like right now, we got this little guy named Huxley in our game who has a very high constitution and I think like toughness, just an HP sponge, basically a boss monster in the party. Like that's how much HP this little dude has.
Nice.
And it's an Echo Knight, which Echo Knights are fucking good.
They're very good. They're very strong.
Right. So well
made.
A very well-made subclass. And so one of the things I'm finding is that making anything that is a threat to this little guy is hard because if I make a monster a big enough threat to actually threaten this character, this monster could also one-shot a normal character in the party, someone who isn't built like Huxley, and I have to be like, oh, well, I don't want to necessarily, accidentally, throw my wrath to the wrong character, and I also don't want to be targeting one character specifically. There's a lot to like consider there, and so one of the things I kind of admire about what you've been doing, rebalancing stuff, is making like less powerful, older like subclasses just on par, really, with the newer stuff. I can then be free to up the statistics of my monsters without feeling like I'm making it unfair for like a particular player, because now everybody can do a little bit more.
Yeah, like it's all about, just making rebalancing subclasses and like character options in 5e is not just a player thing, it's a DM thing too. Just because, like, oh cool, now instead of like a young red dragon, I can throw an adult red dragon. That's a bad example, but you get my point. That would be.
No, I totally get that.
Yeah, and because you look at something called Dragon Sorcerer, and it sounds like the coolest thing, and your mind races with like all the backstories you can do. Like, I'm a kobold who was reborn as a dragon, or like I have the blood of a dragon running through my veins, or like my grandfather copulated a dragon, something like that. And you can just go nuts with it. And then you get it, and it's like, hey, you get some HP. It's like, I don't give a shit. What the hell is this? And like, it's such an easy thing to make better. And it's just like, I just wish, that's the whole reason I made this content. Like, someone should do something about this. Look around. No one's doing it. All right, well, I'll do it myself. Puts on Infinity Gauntlet.
Right. I pulled up just now. I made an improvement to the sorcerer subclasses myself, because I was dissatisfied, and all I wanted to do really was just give them the bonus spells that the other ones have. I don't even need them to be able to switch out the way that the Clockwork Soul and the Aberrant Mind sorcerers can do it. Like,
those are fine. Yeah.
As long as they have bonus spells that, a few of which are not normally on their spell list, that are thematic to their bloodline or their origin. That's it. That's all. It's all you need to really fix this here. Just give them that sort of expanded repertoire. And for Draconic Bloodline, I think, I got to update this because this was before Fizbins came out.
There are correct answers and there are wrong. There are correct answers and there are incorrect answers for what you say.
Well, all right.
What do you got, Shane? What do you got to say?
So
for live and for all these
first
people.
Level, I was going to give them Detect Magic, and then I wrote here Gift of Alacrity, which I would change. I wouldn't give them that. I'd give them something different. Third level, so second level spells. Dragon's Breath. Hey, that makes sense.
Yeah, I was going to say, that is, if you didn't give them Dragon's Breath, I was going to be like, you failed the test.
And then and then I have on here Dark Vision, but again, I don't think I'd give them that. I think I'd give them something different. Fifth level, third level spells. Fear, that does make sense, considering the dragon's frightful presence and stuff. And then this one I thought was cool, Incite Greed. Dragons are all about their hordes. Incite Greed feels really good.
Incite Greed is third level? Incite Greed is third level?
I think so, yeah.
Oh,
and normally a bard spell, so not on their list.
That's pretty good. All right.
And then after that, I don't like what I chose. I would change all that. But hey,
doesn't want to say it on air because he's a coward. He gave them 5 castings of magic missile. I don't know.
There is one that I do like that I maybe is a bad idea, but it's Circle of Power. Do you know that one?
That's a paladin spell, right?
Yeah.
It keeps away like demons and shit.
No, it's a 30-foot aura that dramatically buffs your allies, giving them advantage against like all spell saves that they have to make, and resistance to all magical damage.
Interesting.
Or damage from spells, I think, specifically.
Okay.
It's very good. And, typically a paladin only gets that at level 17, and they're the only ones that get that, unless you're a bard and you get it at 10, but you have to really be gunning for it. Most bards won't take that at level 10. They'll take some other thing, right?
Cowards. Absolute cowards.
So this would be a sorcerer who gets it at level 9, and I'm like, I just want to see this. I've never seen this in play. It's such a cool spell. I want to see this played more often.
I can't tell you how often I make homebrew. And like I recently I invited you to play a one-shot. And I was so excited. People were like, I felt actually a little embarrassed because I homebrew a lot of bullshit. Am I allowed to swear on this program?
You are absolutely allowed to swear. And we're past the first minute. There's like an intro with some music anyway, so you can swear.
Just bleep me out. Just bleep me out after like once we hit the 10-minute mark, and then just like then I'm fine. Let me free.
Editor, bleep him out. I am the editor. I'm not going to do that actually.
Editor, please. Just give him slide him this $5 bill I just handed you.
I give myself $5. I return it to myself and say no. Too much work.
Wait, what the fuck are we talking about? All right, Dragon's Sword. Yeah, no, I'm just so excited when people actually use my homebrew because I'm like, oh yes, I can play test it. I can know if it's dog shit or not. And it makes me happy. Like we're doing this one shot with you and some others, and someone chose Monster Slayer, and I didn't even touch Ranger because it really intimidates me and how to like fix it. And then like someone picked like Death Cleric, which was so cool. I think it's like the coolest thing, and it's kind of also dog shit. So, and like I realized, oh, some of this stuff's out of date, and I tried to update it. And we did something like cool, and it was like really fun, and it's really nice because one player chose Death Cleric at random. He's like, oh, okay, I guess I'm this then. It kind of seemed sad, but it was like, he seemed like really excited. Like, oh, wow, this actually seems good now. So it's just kind of like this fulfilling thing to finally get them to like, oh, hey, here's your fantasy realized, friendo.
Yeah.
But would you like to know what I chose for Draconic Bloodline for the spells?
I would.
So I went in a different direction because, so they're elemental themed, right? But, sometimes you don't really get spells. They're like, sometimes there aren't that many cold spells. Sometimes there's not really many acid spells and poison spells, right? So maybe a level 1, you know how like sorcerers get that thing where they can change the damage type on a spell? So why not? They can just do that at level 1 with any of the spells they get from their spell list. You know what I mean? So, like, that way you can just constantly be putting out that damage type you want and not have to like compromise and pick like crappy spells like level 1 Chromatic Orb, because you can pick a energy type. And level Chromatic Orb and Burning Hands, Dragon's Breath, duh. Melf's Acid Arrow, because that can just do constant damage. Like, imagine doing constant fucking like ice damage to someone. That'd be cool.
Yeah.
Level 3 spells, Elemental Weapon, and Fireball, because I mean, look, if you're gonna do an elemental class, you gotta give them like the stand all, the end all be all of like AoE spells, right?
Yeah.
This is a damage boy. Elemental Bane, because fuck anyone who says, oh, you're a demon of fire resistance? Not anymore, bitch. Just take that away. Wall of Fire and Cone of Cold, because Cone of Cold, again, big OE. And I didn't really think of anything for the last one or level 5, so I picked Creation, because dragons are greedy, right?
Okay.
They can make their own gold. I might have like punted that last one, but
yeah, I think what I would probably do when I touch this up again, I think I would do something like what they did with the Genie Warlock, where you have like, depending on the lineage you choose, you get spells like that you can choose to know as a warlock. So like with that, there's only 4 that, choices, and then there's like a general genie list of spells that you're allowed to take. So with this, I'd probably just try to go for the one for each damage type.
yeah.
And then like if you're metallic or whatever, it's fine. If you want to be a gem, that needs its own subclass. Like, I don't know. I gotta know how to balance that. Draconic in my mind is you are metallic or chromatic, and if you want to do gem, well, you can You can come to me with some online thing you found and we'll balance that. How's that sound?
Gang, you heard it here first. Cool boy Shane doesn't see race. He only sees chromatic and metallic. You can cut that out if that's bad.
That's safe. That's fine.
Okay.
I think that's pretty funny. That's a funny flip on that.
Honestly, like, I don't see the gem dragon. I don't even know what they do. They're like all psionic and shit, and like
they're the neutral brethren, and they're generally not. Well, I don't remember quite if it's they don't reside in the material realm, which is why they're not like found there. They're found in like other planes or something like that. But like, they're dragonborn. So here's the thing about this, right? They were a thing in older editions, but they were also an afterthought in those editions. And then when they did, right, when they did 5e, they were like, so there's two kinds, because that other race was an afterthought. So after time went on and people kind of got, used to, and, admittedly a little bit bored with just chromatic metallic, they're like, let's bring it back for this treasury of dragons. But now it's like you just treated them like an afterthought a second time, so they feel like they don't have a place again. If you had just opened with them from the get-go, or had it be a more early expansion, like maybe not in the...
Shane,
yeah,
you gotta understand, Dragonborns started as an afterthought, like in 4th edition. They were always an afterthought, buddy. You know what their lore is? Their lore is, they just came from another dimension. What's their culture? I don't know. It's like there's not much from my understanding. I could be wrong. Please inundate Shane with 1,000 angry YouTube comments.
I don't get enough angry YouTube comments.
I'll be the first.
I was hearing about my friend Fel the Leb, who does like video essays about certain aspects of D&D, and they get really philosophical and deep, or just like really like meticulous, like about like the language. Like, is an owlbear valid candidate for the druid wild shape? Like, well, it is a monstrosity, but, and then like here, like a whole list of sources where they say they're not actually sure if it is.
Can I throw my hat in the ring on this topic, or do you want to move on?
Well, before you do, I just want to say he made mention of like how he's always getting these really sort of butthurt, not his words, my words, but kind of butthurt comments of just like misinterpreting or taking to the extreme what he's saying, and just like really mean stuff. And I'm like, it'd be funny if I got more of that.
I'm gonna, you know what? Once this interview podcast this is over, I'm gonna leave you a mean comment on a video.
All right, please.
By the way, I've been watching the Peace Guild. It's very good.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah, it's good. I like it. It's also, I'm just like, man, this must have taken forever. Funny thing,
it did.
You should go back to like 1 minute and 13 seconds, I think it was, for episode 1. I think it's, you say, told by a like a vengeful DM and a man with too much time on his hands. Would you walk back that statement now that you have too much time on your hands?
Yeah, I would say that. Also, I don't think I used the words vengeful DM, but I do remember.
No, it wasn't that.
And a guy with too much time on his hands. I remember that part. Yeah.
It was it wasn't vengeful DM. I just like, it was something I can't remember quite what it was.
Yeah, I guess I was gonna make, I was gonna make it an update, like an announcement of sorts. I might still do it. I don't think everyone's gonna watch this specific episode of Podcast and Players for an update on the Peace Guild, but at some point, I think
they should. They should only watch updates.
Yes.
They should. All, guys, I just want to point out, this is an announcement. We were actually talking about this before the podcast. All future updates about the Peace Guild will be on interviews with me. Yeah. Just so you know. Just going forward.
Yes.
Sorry, go on.
I've got like audio recorded for it, and I'm working on some other stuff right now, but at some point I will release like a more detailed thing. But the consensus is people who like the series, who want to know if it's coming back. Here are my intentions. I am not intending to animate it anymore because of the amount of time it takes. It's just too long. However, I do have plans to make episode 4 and 5 as a sort of slideshow audio drama, because I have all of the recorded lines from the voice actors. I've got them all. Like, all I need to do is put them together and then just set it up in a more slideshow type format. That's doable. And I can then get episodes 4 and 5 out in a timely manner that won't like destroy my life. That is my intention. However, I do not have any timetable of when I'm going to do that. And I also, I'm not going to get into the reasons of why I might be stopping at episode 5 here, but I will be talking about that more in the update. So if you want to know the nitty gritty, stay tuned for that when it comes out.
You heard it here first. This is world exclusive for the Peace Guild.
Yeah.
This podcast is constantly bringing up-to-date news with...
We are kind of
the
all...
D&D world.
We're all over the place here. All I wanted to say was...
Let's get back on track.
Yeah,
please,
like,
Shane,
I mean, to which tangent? Like, there's 5 of them.
Shane, can you please stop plugging your work on my interview? How dare you, sir?
Maybe.
I'm kidding.
If you spare my character in the one shot, I might consider it.
I promise nothing. No, I'm kidding.
I hope it didn't come off like I was butthurt in our group chat about that, because because you were like, how do you have a plan to have your character survive? After Demonac was poking fun at how few hit points I have. For the record, everyone, this is a level 10 game, and my character, who is a paladin mostly, with only 3 levels of rogue, 50 hit points. You know,
he dumped Khan.
I dumped Khan. Which, is not a move most people would make. And I understand.
It's a choice.
It's a choice.
Look, I want to point out of all the choices made in D&D, this is one of them. This is all time one of them.
This is definitely a choice. And I'm going for something different, okay? I'm going for most likely to die award. Can I win that, please?
Man, you're in the front running. It's that or cheeky.
But, well, all I wanted to say, though, was like... you guys were talking about like damage and balancing stuff so much. I was kind of gearing my character for the non-combat scenarios more than the combat stuff. Like, he can do stuff in combat, but he's not. He might be a paladin, but he's not a tank. He's not going to try to be a tank. He's going to fight more like a rogue, if anything. It's just having, the paladin auras means he can justify hiding behind other characters. He's like, protect me because I'll help you out.
We love paladin auras. We love them.
We love them. Anyway, let me draw it back to, you had an idea on the Owlbear debate. I want to just get your take on that real quick, and then we can go back to the tangent before.
Yeah, Owlbear should be a beast, mainly because if you look at what the beasts that are released in 5e, that really should... The fact that it has a bear with an owl head should not really be a factor. There are flying monkeys that are beasts in 5e. There are, let's see, what else? There are multi-armed baboons. There is a weasel with a scythe tail. These are all beasts, officially released content. Yeah, it's there's a 2-headed snake.
But that exists in real life.
Well, on both, I think it was like an Ouroboros, but like it does exist in real life. That is fair, but I'm just saying, like, I think that's a dumb line to draw in the sand. Just like, whatever, let it happen. I think, like, listen, there's not enough beasts that are above CR2, so just
that's
let it happen,
very
man.
true. For me personally, if you take one animal and you mash it up with another animal, and it doesn't have a really, really high intelligence, like it's not like walking and talking, it's basically, it's not awakened, right? Then it's a beast. Just call it a beast.
Well, what if I told you that's even not true? Because what if I told you giant eagles have their own language?
That's just a holdover from Lord of the Rings, and I don't hold
giant
that.
Giant elk and giant vultures.
No. In my world, they are just big animals. They are not smarter than their tiny brethren. They're just bigger. I will restat them. If someone's like, I want to summon a giant eagle with my fine greater steed, and they'll be really smart, I'll be like, the only thing making them smart is your fucking magic. They're not innately smart, okay? I'm drawing that line in the sand.
You think you're better than me, Eagle, just because you can fucking fly?
You want your giant eagle to speak its own language? Cast an awaken spell on it and then come back to me. And I'll say, yeah, sure, it has its own language. It doesn't just get one because of fucking Token. No, that's Token's idea. Yeah. That's not my idea. That's not happening in my world.
Tolkien.
Tolkien, excuse me.
Yeah. Jerry Randall Token.
Yeah.
That's his name. It's not his name.
That'd be hilarious if it was. No wonder they abbreviated it to JRR. They're like, no one's going to buy this.
They were cowards. They should have kept it Jerry Randall Token.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. But that's, I mean, whatever. It's to me, if I see that in a movie, I'm like, that's homebrew. Okay. End of story. Move on. It's cool. It's a D&D movie with fucking cool special effects. Good enough. I don't need to care about that stuff, you know?
I think it's really messed up. You're actively going against the canon in 5e that we all know, we all follow exactly to the T.
Well, see, that's what Fell's video was about, was that actually the canon doesn't even know where it is on that.
That's so good.
You should all check it out. Check out Fel the Leb's video about owlbears. It is pretty good. You should also check out his channel. Anyway,
world exclusive.
Yes.
Is it exclusive? I don't know.
Moving back further in this tangent, we were talking about homebrew. It's kind of going to be the basic topic of this episode, rebalancing stuff. And I want to ask because I usually open these podcasts up with more questions about the person who's on. I want to ask you, like, I guess your motivations for like starting your channel. I mean, like making homebrew, a lot of people do that, but like you made a channel to make this homebrew and like show it off to people. Like what influenced you to do that?
So I've always been interested in like making videos, even when I was like backyard with my friends. You know, it's how we all start, right? And it was in the midst of 2020, that golden year that we all know, love, and cherish and wish never happened. So I was kind of just, and I had a lot of free time on my hand, and you know, I was into D&D and just watching stuff on YouTube, and I'm like, man, there's not a lot of good D&D content on YouTube, right? There was, I think, I was able to find Z-Bashu, Dingo Doodle, Puffin Forest, you know, all them. And I really liked their videos, but like I couldn't find any other stuff. Like everything else was just people talking into a webcam and not cutting or editing at all. And I'm like, wow, look, hey, I respect you if you do that, but I will say you don't put a lot of effort into your work. So,
shots fired.
I'll say it. Like, listen, you're gonna just not cut at all, even when you flub. Like, I don't care.
I will say, if you are gonna just talk into a camera, you should at least edit down your videos. Don't leave the dead air. Don't leave the uhs and ums. Do Philip DeFranco style quick cuts, okay? Because we don't have all day.
Exactly. And it's like, they're like half-hour long videos, but it's like about why a greatsword is better than a maul. I'm like, it's 2d6. That's it. Right. Why are we talking about this?
Well, okay. I should also say, specifically for video essays and like comprehensive breakdowns of either lore or mechanics, definitely edit, please. Please do that. If you're doing skits like XP to level 3, one, he edits anyway, but like that's a different format and you're allowed to have more. You're allowed to do whatever the fuck you want, but like, hey everybody, we have been having a few technical difficulties, but I think we are back now. Because of basically what happened was your Audacity crashed twice. We had started the second time. Since that was so short-lived, maybe we should start back where we were there again. So you were about to talk some mad shit on Jacob from XP to level 3,
Yes.
and I'm curious to hear what you have to say.
Yes.
Please don't be too harsh. He is a cool dude.
No. Jacob makes some great videos. I really like the one where he slyly introduced he has a son or child. I don't know if it's a daughter or son, whatever, but he's a child now and he's slightly introduced that. I love that video and I like all his videos. But the point is he puts effort into editing his videos and they're very silly. And you have these people who don't edit their videos at all. Jacob edited his videos and it took him 3 years to learn how to focus a camera. And I think that's incredible. And still, his content is miles better than anyone else's on who's just not editing their videos, was my point.
I mean, that speaks to people who want to make content, but they're like, oh, I'm not good enough. Well, part of getting good at something is doing a thing. You kind of have to do it, and then you're going to learn, you're going to see your mistakes and be like, oh, I wish I could edit that better. Don't wish, just look up some tutorials online, try doing it in those ways to edit better, to figure out to do it the way that you want to do it. That's where it starts. And eventually with practice, it becomes second nature and you pick up new tricks and it's like rolling a snowball, right? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. That's your repertoire of skills.
You only get better as you practice. And I'm going to be honest, if you want to learn any program on the internet, there are plenty of tutorials on YouTube that you can learn from. I'm pretty self-taught, and that's pretty much how I got the job I have now. So that's cool. So guys, if you want to make cool stuff, sometimes you don't need to go to school, necessarily go to school for it. Just see what you can learn on YouTube first and then go from there.
Yeah, you can look up a lot of free resources for programs and things that you can get that aren't going to cost you an arm and a leg, or maybe nothing at all if you're lucky, that you can then start with and work your way up.
Correct. I can't tell you how often there's so many After Effects tutorials of that are being run by straight up children, and you're in college and it's like, how are you so much smarter than me? I have graduated high school and I don't even think this kid can tie his shoes. Why?
I will say something I kick myself for is not being more driven when I was younger, because I had a lot of time. I killed so much time when I was younger not making anything content related. Maybe stuff for me, I toyed around with programs, but I never made content the way that I am today. And I sort of wish that I took it more, that idea more seriously and went with it, because I could be a lot further along. But the thing is, for those who are maybe feeling the same way, maybe the best time to start was yesterday, but the second best time to start is today.
Mm-hmm. You're never going to get better if you don't do anything. There's no secret tip. It's just practice, dude. You got to be shit.
Past, just move forward. You
got to be shit to be good, man. You gotta get there. You gotta go through your shit phase if you want to get better at art. I'm terrible at art, and I got introduced to this group of fucking YouTube D&D people, and they're all fucking better than me. And I'm like, damn, dude, I gotta practice more. And honestly, I don't practice enough. And I might do a little bit of drawing after this so I can get better. I have to draw a lot for videos.
Yeah, true. I'm making a video right now, and I've decided to just be very not detailed with it, because you saw the Peace Guild. It's extremely detailed compared to what else is on YouTube, even though my art isn't the best, but it's very colored, very shaded and all that stuff. Whereas the thing I'm making today, I'm I don't got time for that. I'm just doing stick figures and whatever else is going to work. I'm not going to, and it allows me to get a video done and continue my life,
I still love how I was basically asked, oh, hey, you want to talk to some of the D&D animators? And I'm like, yes, I'm an animator. Sure. Or there are real ass animators there, and I'm just using fucking keyframes and After Effects. Which, okay, yeah, it's technically animation, but
that is, yeah.
Like, I don't. Yes, I am. It is by definition animation, but I don't think it's like traditional animation. You know what I mean? I wouldn't call myself an animator. I would call myself a dude who manipulates images in After Effects.
A dudimator?
I'd call myself a dudimator. Yes, that is my official title. I'll put in my resume, and I'm sure it'll get me lots of jobs.
Anyway, we don't need to get too down on ourselves for the skills that we feel that we lack, because
I do that enough already.
Yeah, we do that enough already. And like having it out there is the first thing. I'm actually really glad to have met you and that you were introduced to us by the powers that be.
The powers that be, yes. We actually just met on a street corner. It was really weird. They're all just hanging out there, and they're like, hi.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, aren't you the powers that be? And they're like, we are.
It's like, wow, I'm Bone Wizard. What a coincidence. We also make D&D. Really strange.
I also noticed a lot of our personas involve us being skeletons. Like, for Halloween, I am always like a skeleton wizard, and then there's Xanianator, who is like a Grim Reaper, and then there's your character, who's literally Bone Wizard.
I can't describe to you how surprised I was when I got invited to a large, mind you, very large Discord server of exclusively skeleton VTubers. It's a real thing. I'm not kidding.
Whoa.
And the thing is, I'm not a VTuber. I sometimes like go on Twitch and just do whatever. I'm not like, it's not like something I'm actively pursuing at the moment. Maybe later though. But like, it's really, there's a lot of, there was a Halloween thing. Like, it was a skeleton tuber bonanza, whatever. There were 48 skeleton VTubers. 48.
Okay, are they all using like the same base model and then
No, they're not.
I'm reacting visibly but audible. I'm just like, my eyes are bugging out of my head like, what?
Yeah, let it sink in. Aegon TV, he's the big shot of that. I've seen some of his stuff. It's like, yeah, a VTuber. He's playing video games. He's fine, I think. Hopefully this ages well.
Yeah, don't be too quick to defend people you don't know. Well, but it seems okay.
From the minute I talked to him, he seemed fine. And I will retract that statement if he does something bad. Cut this out, please. Or don't, whatever's funnier.
Look, what you said is innocent enough. You're giving a first impression on somebody. If someone's coming back to this with future knowledge and goes oof after they hear that, like, hey, we don't. So anyway, you have us at a disadvantage.
The point is, there's a bunch of skeleton VTubers, and again, I'm it's like the same thing. Hey, you're an animator. It's like, hey, you're a VTuber. Like, sure, why not? I'm just accepting things that people are like assigning to me. I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm this. I'm not gonna say no. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that I'm fascinated that there's like that dedicated of a group of specifically skeleton themed VTubers getting together. That's really funny to me. It's
just like, man, I thought I was really original with like, man, I'm gonna make my guy a skeleton. No one's ever done that. Turns out I'm a fraud. No,
it turns out like you have a large family that you didn't know you had, and that's totally fine.
You know, when you think about it, everyone has a skeleton inside them, so maybe we're all family. Yeah. Makes you think.
I don't want to think that hard. I actually want let's pivot back to some of the mechanical stuff that we were discussing, because I'm enjoying this conversation, but we are just sort of like, we've let go of the reins and we're letting the horses ride freely.
Embrace the chaos, Shane. But you know what? Let's embrace it back to mechanics. Shane, can we get back on topic, please?
No,
Shane,
let's get back on topic. I would like to. I would like to talk about some of the changes you made to the druid spells that I think are really good. I actually copied a lot of these down because I'm like, ooh, I'm going to do that in my games.
Good.
I recently played in a game where I had a bunch of druids using many of these spells, and I was like, these are kind of underwhelming. And now Your fixes, I feel like, would make these, I mean, obviously available to both player and enemies, but like Barkskin, for example, no concentration. That makes perfect sense.
It's just mage armor. Why are we treating it like it's more than that?
Well, it's only an hour, and it's a second level spell. I mean, Dark Vision is 8 hours at second level spell. Yeah, it only gives you the, Dark Vision trait and not a mechanical AC bonus. But like 16 is decent and not amazing. It is good. It is a good AC to have, just like for anybody.
At that level.
And because right, and because Barkskin is not, I don't actually recall if that's on the wizard spell list, but from what I understand, it's like a ranger. Yeah, it's like ranger druid exclusively.
Pretty much. And I think nature cleric.
And nature clerics get, some specific subclasses might get access to it.
Nature cleric getting Barkskin is fucking stupid because they get heavy armor. And it's like, it's for your animal companions. All the animal companions you don't fucking have or can't summon with that subclass.
Yeah. That's its own bag of worms. But I think that like I'd never. You know what else? I don't know if you went over it. I didn't see you go over this in another video, but like, so there's Barkskin. For those who don't want to look it up, it just means that you're, for an hour, you or whoever you touch can have a resting AC of 16. Can't go lower than that because their skin turns to bark. And then that's it. Normally you have to concentrate on it, meaning if you get hit and you fail your concentration check, if it's your spell, or worse, if someone gave you Barkskin and then they lose their concentration, you just lose your AC bonus. So having a no concentration means, you can just have a little AC bonus and not have to. It still costs a second level slot. Like that's not nothing, That's 3. You only get 3 of those. And then if you want to do it again, you have to use a higher level. And no one wants to use a 3rd level slot on Barkskin.
Yeah, Good Lord. I would even say like you should be able to choose if you want to give it to more people or if you want to like increase the AC by some amount. I'm not going to say a number now, but like, I cast the level 5th level spell slot. I get maybe this much more AC up, or something like that. Make it worth it. I kind of like it where it's at. I don't want to be busted, but just like a better than mage armor, and it's a little shorter term, meaning you have to really like, wait, do I want to spend a second level slot on Barkskin? But hey, if you're going into a dangerous area and you're going to have at least an hour, you load it up, you're prepping yourself. Like, that's great. And if you have to prep someone else, you could do that too. It can be a buff, which is nice. Yeah.
That means you get multiple Barkskins up at the same time, and that improves the survivability of your. See, that's great. That's why getting rid of concentration is a good idea for that. That's a great fix.
Yeah, any spell that like you mainly cast on yourself that requires you, the person casting it, to go into melee, and then to lose that spell when you get hit with melee is stupid. Just don't do that.
No, but because there are some that I think make sense. Blur. That's balanced. That's disadvantage, fine. Like on all incoming attacks. Like that's okay. You better be concentrating on that. If you actually get hit, then that's on you for not having a high enough AC or shielding.
That's fine.
Like you have other ways of not getting hit. I feel like that makes sense. Barkskin is very much not the level of Blur. Blur is crazy good.
It's also underpowered, like just whatever. And like mirror image exit, I don't know. Like you shouldn't compare like a spell from a different spell list to like that. I think comparing spells from different classes is a little weird. It's got to be like a little
the utility's different.
Yeah, utility's different, and like not everyone should be the same. And I think if they're actually having differences makes the game better. Let people be strong in one area, weak in another. Shit like that. But like one thing that is, and like it goes further beyond just like, oh, we didn't encounter this. Like, jump doesn't protect you from falling damage. Jump. You can literally jump as high as you like. You can jump 3 times higher, meet the point where you will take fall damage, and then get hurt from a spell you cast on someone.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Why? It's dumb. Just you want to improve jump. First of all, don't make a concentration and just you don't take fall damage. It's fine. It's fine.
Jump here for me. I like jump as it is, but it's a specific spell. You need to have a specific kind of character that uses it. And I made another one that I kind of ripped from Pathfinder. It's called I ripped it from the Star Wars 5e. It's called Surging Leap. It's basically you cast the spell and you move 30 feet in a direction. Mm-hmm. And if you are able to attach yourself to whatever is there or land safely, good. If not, you fall like normal. Right. But it means you just get like 30 feet of movement in any direction you need to move, And that's nice. For a spell slot, that's pretty good. But it's a one-time thing, no concentration, instantaneous.
Yeah, it's like jump stuff.
Yeah, jump is different because it improves your natural jumping ability, but you have it for a minute and no concentration, which is still good, but different. You know what I mean?
I'm fine with that. I just don't like when people jump in the air and then they just fucking break their legs. It's just like, why? Why would you do this to me, Druid? You did this to me. My dancing career. I didn't force you to jump. I didn't force you. You did this. You took this. No, you signed the waiver. I'm going to definitely play a caster who's like, hey, before I cast something, you need to sign this waiver.
I have another spell that I think needs a fix.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if we could fix it together.
Oh, sure.
So we talked about Barkskin.
Barkskin.
What about Stoneskin? Have you looked at Stoneskin?
Let me
read it. Let me read it for you. Okay, this is a 4th level.
Let's read some Stoneskin. You guys, we don't talk enough about Stoneskin.
Abjuration. It's an action to cast this. So already taking your action. It's touch, so it's not just you. You can do it to somebody else. It requires as a material component diamond dust worth 100 gold pieces, and it consumes it, so you got to have 100 gold pieces worth of crushed diamond for every casting of this. So that kind of sucks. It is concentration. That sucks too. And it's up to an hour. So it's not even for a long time. It's like, like Barkskin level, which is not so fun. It is on a lot of spell lists. It's on Artificer, Druid, Ranger, Sorcerer, and Wizard. However,
and a lot more, even more subclass lists.
And a lot of subclass lists. But the biggest issue I have, it says, this spell turns the flesh of a willing creature you touch as hard as stone. Until the spell ends, the target has resistance to non-magical bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing. So for all of that, if someone has a magic weapon, you might as well just not cast this spell because you wasted a slot.
Yep.
Let's fix it.
Shane, how would you suggest? You know what? I don't know. Shane, I just can't think of how to fix it. How would you fix it, Shane?
I think the first thing would be get rid of non-magical. Maybe make it like non-adamantine. That makes more sense to me.
Get rid. Like, I'm gonna be real. I think the whole resistances in 5e are super fucked. It's just like there are so many creatures like I'm only affected by magical piercing, slashing, and bludgeoning, right? But then, once you get a certain level and start getting magic items, everyone has it. So, like, why are we even doing this? Yeah. But, like, it's just get rid of the non-magical. You have to be level 8 to cast this. You know what I mean? You're going to be fighting, like wyverns and shit. Or elementals. They have magical stuff, so it's not like this will be relevant. What am I going to do? Like, go in and rob
at this level, most of your enemies, like the ones that matter, are going to have magical attacks. So this doesn't actually protect you. That's why, fucking Blade Ward is stronger than Stoneskin. That's a cantrip. You get resistance to all of those damage types.
That is true.
From any attack. So Stoneskin, right out the gate, if your skin's truly like stone, then you're going to get resistance. Now, I do think having non-adamantine sources, because for one, adamantine is actually more rare than magical attacks. Like, that is a more rare source of damage.
Sure, yeah.
For one. And the whole point of adamantine is it cuts through pretty much anything, especially stone. So, like, if someone's got an adamantine axe called, like, fucking person splitter.
Stone splitter.
Your stone skin... Yeah, stone splitter. Your stone skin ain't going to protect you from that, because that's specifically made to cleave through shit that axes can't cleave through normally. But non-magical, it's like, what's the point? So
I'd even go one step further. Like, I completely agree with that. Sure. You know what else it should be? Go through it. Pickaxes. Right? Like, that's so specific. But, like, maybe you're in a mine and, like, you see a bunch of, like, rock elemental worshippers or whatever, and they cast Stoneskin. It's like, oh no, what do we do? Well, better use the things that are just lying around using your environment, stuff like that. And plus, it's used to kill rocks, so...
I would say no, only because I know that that's a really creative way to do it. The thing is, pickaxes don't cleave through stone as easily as like an adamantine thing might. Like, you still got to keep working at it. And like a pickaxe cleaving through, say, flesh over over stone, it's gonna go through your flesh way easier. That's true. You should still have some measure of resistance against that. That's true.
I guess, like, obviously, if you're gonna fix the spell, get rid of the non-magical, because it's pointless. It's just there to really make this bad. I think it's the fact that it's costs so much. The fact that it costs so much, being 100 GP and its concentration, and its touch, I think does dampen it, because you got to compare this to like spells like haste. No, I guess this is a spell that druids have and nature casters. Do wizards have this?
Wizards and sorcerers, it's very widely used, right? Oh, so I like the idea that it costs a lot. Concentration for one, an expensive material that it consumes. It's an action and it only lasts up to an hour. Because wizards aren't supposed to be just getting resistances to physical damage. How are we supposed to kill our wizards with our big, brawny, like, bad guys if they're just going to have resistance to our damage? Fuck that. But
or if they cast really on, like, want a fighter, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right, exactly. But if they really, really wanted it, at least like give them the benefit of it can give you resistance to non-magical as well, or magical as well. I mean,
I think if you're gonna, absolutely. I think if you're gonna do that, I would even go as far just get rid of the diamond, the gold cost. It's just I don't know. If I'm gonna be spending 100 gold, I better get my damn money's worth. And I'm not casting this every time for diamond dust, which, by the way, for 100 gold pieces, you can bring someone back from the dead. Keep that in mind. This is Stonekin literally is the literal cost of a human life. Definitively.
Yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah. So, like, if I'm spending that, I better get my damn's money worth. So I would say either give more benefits if you are making it cost that much, or get rid of the cost. That's what I would.
Maybe, you know what I might do instead of I like the idea that you're consuming something, you sprinkle this dust on your skin, and then it creates like a stony surface. But maybe instead of diamond dust, it can be something a little cheaper and more unique. That's not diamond, because diamonds are used for so many different things. It would be gold nice dust. To have a different gold dust.
I don't know.
I was like, gold's actually very malleable. It's not very difficult to. It's not very hard, is what
tungsten.
Just
do you know how heavy tungsten's? Like, I think the heaviest metal.
It's I think the densest. That or lead, one of the two.
It's one of those, but it's heavy. And so I just imagine this weak wizard, carrying around this just block of tungsten powder, just like, here, come over here, I'm gonna pour this on you, and just hear like hail hitting the fighter's armor.
That gives me an idea for something else, though, like a tungsten-based material component for a spell that like makes you heavy, almost like wearing the iron boots in The Legend of Zelda, like something that makes you have like basically you can't be knocked prone or some cool shit like that.
Yeah, you can't move. You could do that for like kind of like enlarge. Because, you do get heavier with that spell. Or like maybe, you don't get knocked prone. Maybe you are better athletic checks. I'm just describing large again. Crap. Or like maybe like you can attack someone. And when your attack's so heavy, like maybe it also goes to your weapon, like the heaviness, and you pin them. Like you can pin them with your weapon or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that just was a thought that occurred to me. I'm like, that would be kind of a fun spell. And I feel like another thing is that there's not enough spells in this game. Like, they've added a few here and there, some very much needed ones, like the summon something spells, because you could basically flavor like summon aberration or summon fiend or something to like whatever you want that to be. Like, the DM can take control of that if they want it. They could be like, all right, I'm gonna, you're going to summon what I want you to summon for story reasons or something like that. But with the like, there's just a lack of, like you said, that like, there's not a lot of like acid specific spells.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of after a certain point, like, you know, after Shatter, there really isn't a lot of thunder type spells until you get to way later.
I don't even know what the other thunder spells are, like Storm of Vengeance.
Destructive Wave from the Paladin spell list. Again, level 17 Paladins can cast that. Cool. And only half of it's thunder, the other half is radiant. But
yeah, it's not great.
Well, it knocks things prone, actually, and you can mold it around your friends so it doesn't affect your friends. It's like an area of effect that spares your allies and hits your enemies, knocks them prone on top of everything. And
I mean, that's the beauty of like being able to like change damage types, I think. Mm-hmm. And like Sorcerer can do that, but like I'm never gonna say no to more stuff. You know, that's we love that. I just think it does have to be, like, it can't just be, yeah, it's Fireball, but with Thunder now. It's like, whatever. Like, we have that with Lightning Bolt, and that's whatever. No one's picking Lightning Bolt. They're all picking Fireball. Like,
I picked Lightning Bolt because it was cooler.
But then I found a spellbook. You're one of the real ones.
But then I found a spellbook with Fireball, and of course I took it. Like,
there it is.
Here's another thing I think I would like to see, and I'm going to make my own version.
You know what, Shane? Let's hear another thing. Let's hear this. Let's hear another thing. Guys, can we hear another thing?
Let's run this by you and see what you think.
Run by me.
Hey, aren't you tired as a Jish, magic fighter, having to always use a Jish or Gish? I don't know how that's pronounced. I've always thought spelled.
It was Gish. Is it Jish or Gish?
The GIF or GIF debate has now arisen anew. Aren't you tired of always having to cast Booming Blade or Green Flame Blade? And that's literally it. Yep. Don't you wish you had more offensive melee-based cantrips to choose from that would work with your abilities?
I do.
Well, how's this sound? What if we, using Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade, we created some variants of the same thing that swapped out the damage types, were functionally the same otherwise, and then made a third one that had another 2 variants for their damage types.
Interesting.
For example, Booming Blade. The whole idea is you hit somebody, deals a little bit of thunder damage, and then if they move, that they take extra thunder damage. What if we change it to cold and we call it the Flash Freeze Blade? You were to hit them, they take some cold damage, and if they move, it ices up and fucks them over. Right? Basically exploding ice in their wounds. Like, that sounds like it could be the same spell with a different damage type. It kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah. I think, what you could do, you could have like maybe a level 1 spell. You whack them, and if they move, maybe they actually explode into ice, and anyone near them just also takes like some ice damage, like Ice Dagger or something.
They straight up die and explode into ice at level 1 spell?
No. Like the ice on their body explodes. But like also, I mean, like, if you want to look, guys, if you want to kill people, just straight up insta kill your characters with level 1 spells. I mean, you can. I don't agree with it, but you can.
Yeah, you do what you want in your games, I guess.
Yeah, that's fun.
Similarly, Green Flame Blade, interesting, like the first version of it, when you're below level 5, doesn't even do extra damage to the thing you hit. It deals damage to someone next to the thing you hit. So I thought, well, if it's fire springing from your blade, which I hate that they call it Green Flame Blade. It could be any color. It should be like multicolor flame blade or some.
Yeah, it should be a cool color, like orange.
Rainbow Flame Blade would sound so better because it could say in the spell, you choose the color. Why not?
I think it's kind of fucked up you would say that, because I think you're really insulting all the listeners who are very much into barium. Because barium burns green. I think that's kind of fucked up. I think you should apologize.
Yeah. You ain't gonna get that here. Cancel me. Do it.
Barium sucks.
What's always exchangeable with fire? Lightning, Jolting Blade. That makes a lot of sense where you hit and then it like lightning leaps to another person. That's a very similar type of idea and effect. And as it scales, you actually are doing more lightning damage to the person you hit. So that's great. But then I'm like, all right, but we've got 2 others. We got Poison and Acid. they need some love. So I figured, why not make 2 variations, like Caustic Blade, and I have Viper Blade written here, but I thought maybe that's kind of a silly name, maybe.
I like the idea your sword just turns into a straight up snake. Just a straight up rattlesnake. And just be like, can you, okay, fighting a guy, needs a sword, okay, that's a little scary. Fighting a dude and his sword turns into a snake, like, oh god, I'm fighting Moses. Like, that's terrifying.
Yeah,
it's a Bible reference for anyone
that
who...
is a, yeah.
I don't know. That's what people are into now, right?
Yeah, people are into Bible references now. That's what's cool in it, right?
Dude, people on TikTok are going nuts for this Bible thing.
Yeah. Have you heard of this book called the Bible? It's actually pretty fire.
I think it's pronounced Bibli.
It's called the Bible.
The Bible.
What do you think of Caustic Blade and Viper Blade? Right, an acid and a poison-based melee cantrip. I haven't done nothing with this. What are your ideas when you first think of that?
So is this just green? Is this green flame blade? But
no, it's not a risk. It's a third. We're making a third.
We're doing this live right here, now.
We're doing it live. Yeah.
God, Shane, you're just popping this on me. Didn't even have time to prepare. Where are my notes? So. My immediate thought goes to Primal Savagery, which is a D10, deals acid damage that druids get. So there is that for acid, but if you wanted to do specifically poison, it's a little tough just because poison's a little in 5e. I think maybe if you hit them, you deal like a poison damage, like a normal poison would in a lot of video games. You stab them, right? And then maybe they just lingering damage, unless they maybe...
That's what I was thinking. Because it's hard, one, if you get acid on you, okay, good luck. That's going to keep burning and reacting with your skin until you neutralize it. And then with poison, again, that seeps into the body, like through the skin, and can cause damage that continues more than the initial attack.
Do you know how venom... Well, actually, no. Shane, we have to apologize. It shouldn't be called Poison Blade. It should be called Venomous Blade. Because poison's ingested, venom's injected. Unless you're forcing it down their throat, which would be a very interesting cantrip.
Poison is anything that is toxic. Like, it can be absorbed through the skin or inhaled. Like, poisonous is anything, but venom is specific to injected.
Is that true?
Like, yes.
Okay.
Because a venom is harmless if it's ingested from basically, which is a very interesting real fact, like from any venom from any snake, even ones like neurotoxin venoms versus like the hemoglobin, the ones that like fuck with your blood, the necrotic venoms, all of them, if you were to consume it and ingest it, it would not affect you because it wasn't injected into your bloodstream. Venom is specific in that it has to hit your bloodstream.
Unless you have an ulcer, and then, oh no. Oh no, then it's getting in your bloodstream. But yeah, I didn't know. Okay, well, I learned something. Have you ever seen the effects of venom on blood? It's terrifying. It's terrifying.
Like, so vipers, they are from, they're a whole family of snakes, and all of them have the same kind of venom, essentially, like rattlesnakes, all of it is the blood one, where you put it on blood and it creates this weird coagulated blob. Mm-hmm. It's very bad if you get that in your body.
Yeah, if you get bit by a snake, it's basically just like, oh, cool. All my blood's gonna cause a roadblock in my veins. Very cool. I'm gonna die. So that's fun. It's not fun.
The other version is the kind of venom that like say like a black mamba and other snakes of that family have, which are neurotoxins. Those are the ones that make it so you can't breathe anymore and you die of asphyxiation because you can no longer respirate.
And I think that's what the cantrip should do. You should immediately start suffocating and immediately die.
Yes. No, but basically the idea here is, like, you mentioned Primal Savagery, but that is a melee spell attack. That is its own thing. And I already liked the fix that you did where you add your spellcasting modifier. I thought that made sense. But this is like Green Flame Blade and Booming Blade using a melee weapon that you have,
this would be a weapon? Oh, okay.
Yes.
I see.
That's why I have it ending in blade like the others. Like, obviously it can be a hammer or whatever, but...
Yeah, I would say, like, maybe you hit someone with it, and then at the end of each of your turns, they have to make a Constitution saving throw to, like, see if they take damage, and they only stop taking damage when they make a successful save, right? Something like that, just like tick, 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 tick. And then, I don't know, like maybe stuff like that. Or like it'd be cool way you could find a way to stack or something. I don't know.
That would just be a lot of upkeep. As a cantrip, I think having one extra instance of that damage makes the most sense. But like, so Booming Blade does extra damage on a hit. And does extra damage when they move, right?
Yeah.
But it's a lot. It's a big... Booming Blade does a lot of thunder damage. And then you've got Green Flame Blade, which doesn't do initial damage to the first thing, but can spread to things near it. So it's more of a splash damage type of situation. If we're doing lingering, maybe they don't have to move. Maybe they just, if they're hit, they take the extra damage, but make the damage die smaller because it's a guarantee.
Yeah, like maybe like no save, just like a guarantee. I guess that's in line with Green Flame Blade, and so like. It's interesting just because if it's a guarantee and it's lingering, are you just like, is there no way to heal from it? Like, are you just fucked? Like, I got hit with this one thing, I die now.
At the start of their turn, they take that damage or something, yeah. So basically, their ally can do something to like maybe try to up their hit points in the meantime, or give them temporary hit points. But
maybe if you have a way to heal yourself. It gets rid of the poison, or maybe if you take an action to do like a medicine check, you can get it out or something.
Interesting.
Oh, what if? Okay, I got this. What if? So like, okay, taking action to take out poison doesn't make any fucking sense. So what if your sword turns into a snake? I was kidding earlier. I actually mean it this time. Your sword turns into a snake, and you whack him with the snake, and the fucking fangs get lodged in your skin. Right? And you have to use an action to pull them out to get rid of it, like a medicine check or just an action. You know what I mean?
Then you couldn't attack again, though, because then your weapon's magically transformed and stuck in that way.
No. It's a magic snake. Don't worry about it. Listen, your blade will get shorter, but it's fine. It's fine. Just get another one.
I have an idea.
Yeah, what's up?
How about we could make Caustic Blade and Viper Blade or Poison Blade, whatever we're going to call that. We could make the damage actually higher than Booming Blade, but we do what you said, give them the opportunity to stop that guaranteed damage the next turn. So basically, if they take it could, instead of dealing the extra damage, could rob them of action economy.
Oh, geez. As a cantrip?
Which would be as a cantrip, that's pretty good.
Was it too good? I'm hesitant to rob action economy.
I think there's a way we could make that work.
I think if you're robbing someone of their action economy or really putting a detriment on it, you have to not make the damage too high. It's always a balancing act, right? Like you have to really ask yourself when you're ever making these spells. You have to like look at the other spells and try and be on par with them. Because if you make something too powerful, everyone's going to choose the fucking super awesome thing that kills everyone in one hit. But if you make something too weak, no one's ever going to fucking pick it, right? So it's always about finding that middle ground and being, reasonable. So I would say maybe like if you're robbing action economy, a D4. But if you are just doing Booming Blade, like a better Booming Blade, maybe make it like a fucking D12 and make it a con save. You know what I mean?
I just read Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade again, and it turns out they actually do not do any guaranteed extra damage to the target of your hit. It's just whatever your weapon does, and then Booming Blade gives them the sheathing energy, and if they move willingly, it deals damage. And then with Green Flame, it deals damage to somebody else, but only equal to the spellcasting ability
until level 5.
Until level 5 when it does initial damage for both spells on the first target. So this would have to be the same. We'd have to make it so that it doesn't deal any extra damage necessarily right away to the target, but it would have to have some other benefit that's different from the other two.
Oh man, what if it was like if you make if you move, if you're near someone, what if you make an attack? If you make an attack roll against a creature, you take damage, right? Maybe something like that. It's just like, hey, dude, don't attack me. You don't have to. You know what I'm saying? Are you writing this down right now, or is that you typing in the background?
I'm mulling it over. No, I'm just mulling it over here because There's one of the things that frustrated me when I was playing a Blade Singer was that they're really like you basically are kind of pressured by the internet into taking Booming Blade and Green Flame Blade by everybody because they're like
they don't control your character.
Dude, it's more than Reddit. It's YouTube. It's everybody. They're like, you have to take these to be even approachable to good. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I feel like there are different ways to play this, and I kind of didn't use them that much, like very often myself, because I'm sick of them. How many ways can you skin Booming Blade if it's always thunder? And, okay, Green Flame Blade could be Red Flame Blade. Cool. Ooh. Black Flame Blade. Look how edgy I am. Like that's cool, but it's also very one note. You know, compare that to like Shield. Shield, obviously super useful, but also can look like anything. Like, same with Magic Missile. Both of those can look like anything you want them to look like. They can be shaped in any way that makes sense for your character. Whereas there's only so many ways you could reskin these blade attacks. So if we were to make different element versions of them and then add like a third one for the other two that had its own thing, that gave a little more variety, a little more choice to these characters, but wasn't broken. I don't know. I feel like it's called for.
I think
Wizards dropped the ball by only having two.
Wizards, give Shane what he wants, please. He's
give
starving over here for melee cantrip. Look at him. Look at him. He's skin and bones. Can't even lift his little wizard staff off the ground. It's actually very serendipitous that you said that. Actually, the next video I'm going to release, which is how to rebalance druids, actually includes a melee cantrip for spore druids. So look forward to that. And you could absolutely put it to whatever. I only meant it to be like for druids and rangers, but you could absolutely put it to wizards if you wanted.
Didn't you already rebalance or buff? It was how to buff druids. Is that what you released?
No, I did how to buff some druid spells. I forget what it was called. I buffed some druid spells. I'm doing druids next.
That's what you did. Okay.
I'm doing the whole druid, all the druid subclasses.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So that's so much writing. It's so much writing.
A lot of writing. I mean, I've borrowed a lot of what you said. I have so much that I want to change that I'm at a point now where I'm like, I should just write a PDF.
Hey, you could join me and have a 54-page long PDF of all the changes you have in D&D.
I would hope that it wouldn't be that long.
Yeah, so did I.
Oof.
It's rough, man.
But speaking of taking longer than anticipated, we're actually going well past an hour, even after our little interruption.
Sorry about that again.
in the middle. Oh, no worries. So I'm wondering if you would like to maybe share with us a fun anecdote or story from your games.
From my games. Well, Shane, you're really springing this up on me. Well, but you know what? I'll do it for the people. Fun anecdote. Well, there's only one way to start a good story. So
nice. I will definitely keep that in.
Please do. So I recently finished a 5-year-long campaign that went from level 9 to level 20. And it was, no one ever tells you when you finish these campaigns about like the sadness the day after. It's like, it's over. Like, everything can go well. Ugh. Everything can go right. It's just like, hey, there was a happy ending. And you just walk away from it. It's like, we'll never see those characters again.
or worse yet, you come on to game day, like, and it's like, well, I don't play Antumbra on Mondays anymore. Nope. It's over.
No, you don't.
It's so sad.
And even if you do, even if the DM takes that PC is now an NPC in the next campaign, it's not the same. Time has passed, and you're not gonna bring the same performance that they did. It's not the same. you know?
This is hitting on something extremely near and dear to my heart. It's actually causing an emotional reaction in me as we speak.
It's real. It's
real.
a real thing. It's a somber thing. You spend so much time with this project that you and your friends make, and then you just have to say goodbye to it. And it's just like, well, it's sad.
All right. So now that we've thoroughly we've warmed up our audience with a depressing truth, let's bring them back in with this cool story.
So let's talk about a stupid dinosaur. There was this we have a lot of wild magic in our game, and one of the wild magic effects that happened was a velociraptor just spawned in. The gang adopted it, and the druid awakened it. And I thought this would just be a funny goof. Turns out that fucking velociraptor survived for 2 years, even to the end game. So what happened was essentially they awakened this velociraptor and they named him Branch, right? And
that's a good name.
Yeah. And so we buffed Awaken because we just thought like, oh, fuck it. Let's just give him a bunch of shit. Like, they get a free knowledge, like intelligence proficiency, because why the fuck not? We'll randomly roll it. And Branch, we constantly like tried to make Branch viable in combat, and thank God for like the I think it's the Tasha's companion rule, because we ended up using that and it was really good. So he's going along fighting them, and eventually, for some fucking reason that I'm not going to get into, they had to go to the land of the dead. They had to go to basically heaven for hunters and beasts. And the one fucking rule there is we hate invaders and we hate traitors. Because a wolf god rules, and why the fuck wouldn't they want that? They hate those people. They're all about unity and shit. And so they travel through this land of the dead where all these beasts are constantly hunting them, because it's just like what they do. You're in a hunting ground. You are the prey. Everyone's the prey. So you're constantly going through that shit. And the druid's like, all right, gang, I have an idea how we can blend in. I'll cast animal shapes. What I didn't tell them is when you're in this land of the dead, I believe I called it Jaegerland, Hunterland. I'm very creative. When you're in this land of the dead, when you change shape, you stay that shape forever.
Ooh.
So they all changed into winter wolves, which I'm again, it's a beast. Fight me. Please fight me by angrily commenting at Shane in the comments.
Nice. Also, just a quick aside. I know you said Jaegerland isn't that great of a name, but literally in the 5e cosmology, there is a place called the Beastlands. You're not that far off from the real thing.
Let's go. Let's go. So I just read a little bit of German. I'm like, now I'm better than you, 5e. So, they're going through this, and they all get changed into fucking winter wolves, and they're like, okay, well, this sucks. And eventually this druid has to like talk down this velociraptor who's now a fucking winter wolf, and he's a winter wolf, and they're all just like, you know what, hey man, thanks for like walking me through this. I was really stressed out. And the velociraptor was like born about a week ago in this timeline, and so he's afraid he's gonna fucking die, and this druid is just walking him through it because he awakened him. He's like, dude, I'm not gonna let anything fucking happen to you, not in my chance. Like, I'd rather die than let anything happen to you, right?
Aw.
And so they're constantly going, and like the druid is just teaching them like how to live. He's like, hey, what's this, and it's like teaching him morality, and he's looking up to them as a father figure. And at a certain point, they figure out that the fucking shit is not going well in the land of the dead here, because people aren't like respawning, because you're supposed to like get killed, and you get respawn, and you go hunt again. But what they're doing is they're collecting all these animals, and they're just, this fucking shitty ass demigod is just eating them and then casting regenerate on him, so he doesn't have to hunt for them, and just keeping him imprisoned, which is just fucking bad. It's hell. It's hell.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah, imagine they were doing a Prometheus to you. That would suck, you know?
Yeah, that would. I've never seen that movie, but that would.
No. Prometheus, like the Greek legend where an eagle constantly eats your liver only to regenerate.
Oh, actual Prometheus, which I do know.
Prometheus. Yes.
I don't know why I assumed it was the movie.
No. I haven't seen that movie. I heard it's dog shit. Anyway, so basically, yeah, it's bad. And they're like, okay, well, we'll deal with this after. Oh, to cross the bridge to where we get to, we need to defeat him? Fucking okay, I guess we're dealing with this then. And so they're basically going to fucking war with a demigod who is the son of the person who rules this place. So they're like, don't we have to ask that guy for a favor? The person who rules this place, Jaegerland? Yup. Okay, we'll see how this fucking goes. So they're eventually going to war with him, and it comes to a point where a dragon falls into a bridge. It's not important. And the party gets split up. There are two different sides of this bridge. One side of the bridge is the druid and branch. And it's not looking good. They're basically fighting Sif and this demigod, this wolf demigod thing. And the druid is kind of shocked because they cast Dominate Beast on Branch. He's a fucking beast.
Oh, no.
And it starts attacking him. And the druid's really low on hit points. So he has an option. He can either disengage and run away, or he can cast Dispel Magic to save his friend, and then take the attack of opportunity and hope he doesn't get hit. It was a guaranteed thing. If he disengaged, he would have got away free. He took Dispel Magic to save his friend. This is what a player chose. He chose the life of an NPC over the life of his character. And what happened? He tried to run away, and he got a sword just shoved through his chest. And he died. And Branch lived. He chose a fucking NPC over himself. That is the fucking best storytelling, and it was all in fucking combat. It's so... Anyway, so Branch fucking lives. They win the battle, yada, yada, yada. And they have to fucking bury their friend. And Branch is so fucking... He knew this guy. He was like his father. He knew him for a week. And he awoke in him. He showed him all these wonders of the world, all the horrors, and tried to like help him through it. And he doesn't have that anymore. He's just an idiot barbarian and a fucking know-it-all rogue who's kind of a fucking asshole. So they're all mourning him. And obviously, because this is D&D, as soon as someone dies, you know, someone else is going to waddle up. Oh, hey, what are you guys doing? I might as well join you. Because that's how fucking D&D works.
Yeah, that's just how it works.
That's just how we just need to accept it. It's just like, it doesn't matter what the story is. It's like, oh, yeah, but, well, you know, you just got to accept it. And so the druid player is now playing a bard, and he's a fucking drunkard. So he's showing up, he's like peeing on the tree behind where they buried him. They're like, oh, hey. So everyone fucking hates him, especially Branch. He fucking hates this dude. Fuck this guy. Fuck you. You were dishonoring the memory of my friend. You're a piece of shit. And this player who went for being a father figure to this guy is now the most hated person by him. And I'm telling this dude to his face, fuck you. I hope you die. And his son is saying that. And it hit kind of fucking different. So all this is happening, and eventually they like get to like, all right, we're at Heaven's Gate. No, wait, maybe not Heaven's Gate.
No.
Oh god, yeah, now let's all drink this Kool-Aid. No.
The Gate of Heaven.
The Gate of Heaven, yes. Basically, they're where they need to go to, like, this castle where the gods are. And who pops out but the fucking torturer of this world? Because, oh, by the way, did I mention there's a hell to this place? And they fucking get kidnapped. Branch gets kidnapped by a fucking black dragon who loves to torture people. He's literally there to torture all the fucking sinners there. And so, they could have chose, all right, let's just get our goal done. Fuck this NPC. They had victory in their hands. They went back to get the fucking Velociraptor and fight a ancient black dragon. An ancient black dragon in his lair. For all those who are unaware, it's a big fucking deal.
Yeah.
and they fucking save him. And so much more shit like that fucking happens. And eventually, the fucking bard wins the love of Branch to the point where they fucking team up in the prologue to save their old master from the fucking Jaegerland shit.
Oh, that's cool. I like that.
And fucking it's just they spent so much, they put so much into this NPC. They loved this NPC, and it was just, I didn't even fucking plan it. There was no intention. It was a wild magic roll. I didn't plan for fucking Branch to be this whole character. His whole thing was he just liked jerky. That was it. But he grew into so much more. He grew into this character that they loved and would do anything for, to the point where he was not just a fucking NPC. He was a character in the story and a key character in the story. So, yeah, that's Branch.
I thank you for telling us the saga of Branch. I honestly, those organic moments of like an NPC that wasn't important. In fact, it wasn't even preconceived by you. They, wild magicked in a Velociraptor and then made it an NPC with Awaken, and you just had to kind of roll with that. And I don't know. There's something about loyalty to that that's really endearing.
It's peak D&D, man.
Yeah. For sure. It's also, it speaks to the kind of curse that some DMs face where they have an important quest NPC and they really need the party to care about them, and the party just doesn't give a shit, or they find them annoying. In fact, they don't like them and won't do what they say, won't cooperate, or they'll even kill them, murder hobo them away. You kind of, there's an art to this. There's an art to making someone a likable PC, and it often has to do with make something really cool about them. If they just are normal McGee, that's not that great. But if they have like a cool fucking quirk, not anything obnoxious, but like in this case, Branch was a talking Velociraptor. That's the coolest shit ever,
that'll
right?
Do it.
Like,
and this is D&D Velociraptor. He was tiny. He was the size of a turkey, and he helped fight God.
And like, honestly, can just have the most normal personality, but the fact that he is a talking Velociraptor is enough, right?
Yeah.
If you have a quest NPC that you think is maybe a little bit too normal, a little too mundane, like, give them some sort of quirk that makes them interesting and likable. Just on the face of it, a gimmick, and make it natural. Just don't make them annoying. That's the worst thing you could do. If you make them annoying or needy, like, they're not going to be able to endear themselves to the players, and the players will be like, ugh.
Yeah, and
okay.
Honestly, if you find that people aren't drawn to this NPC that is the quest giver or whatever, like, and they are somehow attracted to a stupid baker that they want to bring on their adventures, lean into it. Maybe that guy is the quest giver. Maybe the guy who just bakes bread for a living is like, actually, this is my side gig. I'm also a prince. Whatever. Fuck it.
Yeah, or have them know a guy. I mean, if there's the baker, people come into that bakery. Maybe they overheard something, right? Like, you can always twist something to be in your favor as the DM to like allow for your plot line to be progressed without it feeling like railroading. You know what I mean?
Stephen the Baker? Oh, that's his new name. His old name was Stephen the Dragon Slayer, right? Like, you could do so much with it. Like, give him a fucking backstory. Why not?
And that's an example, but like there's going to be a lot of opportunities and a lot of moments that are just going to happen where there is an intelligent monster, for example, an intelligent enemy that your party decides to spare. Like, they don't want to kill. They want to either press for information, or maybe they want to turn them to their side. You can make that happen. It doesn't have to be they're always just straight up evil or opposed. Like, I just played recently in a game. It's Pathfinder, but it's the same principle. I follow a god of ghouls as this character, and we're walking through the shadow plane to get to another place on the material plane faster. It's like shadow walk type ability. And while we're on this plane, we're attacked by a variant of ghouls in Pathfinder called the Leng Ghoul. Now, my god is the patron of regular ghouls. Leng ghouls have a different god, and they don't follow my god. They think my god is like a usurper or just like a false patron at worst.
I'm the usurper, motherfucker. You just added Len to your name and then called it a day. Fuck you, I'm the original. You're just Diet Ghoul.
Well, Leng is a place, and these are ghouls from Leng, whereas normal ghouls are from Golarion. So to them, they're called Golarion ghouls, and they're just ghouls.
I think it's pronounced Ghoularion.
I actually like that. That's fun. I like that.
That's so dumb.
But in any case, we defeated them. But I was able to use like my necromancy to like bind them in place and like not kill them outright, but like negotiate with them. And I could talk in like the language of the dead. And as a cleric of my god, I was like, you follow this god, right? But I basically did some negotiation here. Like, your god is trying to like end the world. That includes you. And they like, he's using you. He doesn't care about you. You might not like my god. You might think my god is like new to the game, but at least my god gives a shit. Like, my god actually cares about your well-being and wants ghoul society to actually like be uplifted. And I was able to successfully convince this like Lengul, like, maybe you're talking sense here, mister. Maybe we'll go back to our society and we'll start changing. Basically, I planted the seeds of revolution in this like aberrant ghoul society, and I'm hoping that these seeds bear fruit for us in the end game.
I really like how the seeds of your revolution were just like, hey, maybe like don't willingly kill yourself. Have you considered that? Like, we never thought of it that way.
No, they didn't know that was the plan. We were privy to information that they were not. They were just blindly following what their god was telling them to do. But I'm like, your god's working with like Rovagug, the rough beast, the ender of all worlds in creation. That includes you. Maybe don't do that. He might be the guy that created you, but I don't give a shit how that happened. But at least my god cares about you. Like, you don't have to follow this old guy. You could follow the better guy.
Hear me out. Do you want to follow David or Cool David?
Yeah. But anyway.
Cool ghoul.
A cool ghoul.
That's who I want. You want follow the rule of cool ghoul.
You are giving me ideas. I'm so glad I had you on today.
These are bad ideas, but take them if you wish.
No such thing. Well, no, that's not true. But we're reaching the end of the podcast. I want to thank you for agreeing to come on and shoot the shit with me. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. Wait, this is a podcast? No, I'm kidding. Wait, were we supposed to be recording? No, I'm kidding. You imagine after all that? I think you'd end the call now.
If you actually weren't recording this whole time, I would still have a backup, but I would be a little upset that you lied to me the whole time.
Just to fuck
I'd be a little upset. Yeah. Like, we had a huge break for you to like fix your crash program, just for you to be like, yeah, that never happened. I was just fucking with you. Like, I'm never having you on again.
I wish the worst of you, friend.
But no, thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, can you tell everybody where they can find you if they want to find your awesome content?
Yeah, just look up Bone Wizard on YouTube, and you'll find me there. I make a bunch of fucking stuff about D&D and how to rebalance it. I'm also on _bone_wizard on Twitch, and I'm also on Twitter. I don't post a lot, but I'm there if you want it. It's just at Wizard Bone, because Bone Wizard was taking Wizard Bone. Wizard Bone sounds much more dirty than Bone Wizard somehow.
You know, you got to take what you can get. I have mine as like Cool Boy Beebles instead of Cool Boy Shane, because someone has Cool Boy Shane. I thought, before my channel came out, I thought I'd be Cool Boy Beebles, and then I was like, that sounds dumb.
You should absolutely rename your channel to Cool Boy Beebles.
No, never. Absolutely not. Thank you, everybody, and thank you for being on.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Shane.